Have you ever thought, I should sleep, but then continue to do the thing you were doing even though you didn't really want to and woke up the next day sleep deprived or super late feeling like a piece of shit and then repeating the same patterns until you were so physically exhausted that your body literally shut down and forced you to go to sleep early? I feel you. I hear you. And you are not alone. It's pronounced hallucination. I honestly don't know whether this video is going to be about procrastination or it's going to be about shame or it's going to be about feeling like a piece of shit. Actually, scrap that. It's about all three. I don't even know how to begin. These are the sort of themes that my entire life have been revolving around. Even though I didn't really realize that it was shame and it was lack of self-compassion that led to this feeling of being a piece of shit or feeling like I'm not worthy and I'm just a terrible human being. If you've ever hurt someone you loved by lashing out at them when you're angry, if you've laid in bed all day doing nothing, just hating yourself, even though you really just all you wanted to do was get up and do something, if you've ever just cried, feeling so sad and angry and frustrated that you were feeling sad that you were, being mean to yourself and sad that you just seemed so pitiful, you know what I'm talking about. And the thing is, these days we don't get to see that very often, whether it's online, whether it's TV, whether it's news, whether it's whatever the hell it might be, because people don't like to show that side of themselves. People don't like being vulnerable. I don't like being vulnerable. No one wants to share the worst sides of themselves and showcase, I guess, the things that we are ashamed of about ourselves. That's why I'm here on my bed, because I wanted to film this video, but I was feeling like a piece of shit. And these are things that I constantly feel, because not only do all the messages in society tell us that you must achieve things and you must do things and you must have a job or have a boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or have a degree or be happy or just be grateful, whatever it might be, there are so many things in society that tell us that how we are feeling is bad, how we are feeling is not okay, how we are feeling is not normal, and that there is something wrong with us. And at the end of the day, that is what shame is. And that is something that we all experience to some degree or other. And it doesn't have to come from outside, but I think a lot of the times we do internalize it and we end up comparing ourselves subconsciously to everyone around us, everyone that we see, even though we don't want to be, even though we know better. And then we get angry at ourselves for doing it, even though we know we should know better, right? I was actually thinking about my first video, 5 lessons that I learned from 2020, and I realized that instead of should, you can also say, let's do this. You might not want to do it. You don't have to force yourself to say, I want to do, I don't know, I want to clean the house. You can be like, let's go clean the house and get this over and done with. Like, that's a much nicer and more compassionate way of saying should. It also isn't faking that you want to do a thing when you really don't want to. So back to the shame. For me, I think procrastination has always been something that I've been very ashamed about, because I feel like other people can do it, and sure, other people procrastinate, but I procrastinate the most, and therefore I'm special in my procrastination and no one understands how it feels. Even though I don't really consciously think that, I kind of think that, And that's part of what this sense of self-loathing comes from, is by feeling that your struggles are worse than anyone else's struggles, or that other people's struggles are so much worse than yours that your struggles aren't even worth talking about in the first place. But the thing is, no matter what sort of background you come from, no matter how privileged you are, you experience difficulties and struggles. You experience shame and all the struggles of this world as much as any other human might. I don't think we can ever compare our own experiences to others, because we only ever live one experience, and there's nothing that we can ever do to understand what sort of life someone else lives. I think if we ever swapped bodies with someone, we'd realize that we are all literally the same. We all have the same fears, we all have the same shame, and some of us have been able to overcome that, and some of us have been able to learn languages that are much more compassionate to ourselves. But some of us, I'd say most of us, are either numbing ourselves or working on it, I want to share a story from a few weeks ago. I was in bed looking at places to move out. Speaking of moving out, after that moving out video, I was so focused on everything that was bad about my life, about living at home, that I actually made myself miserable because I was just thinking about how bad everything was. And it really goes to show that, like, when you focus on the negative, it just makes it exponentially worse because you're just thinking, this is so bad and that's so bad and everything sucks and why am I here? And we forget about the positive when we're focusing so hard on all the bad things that are happening in the world, well, in our lives rather. So note from my second video, moving out video, when there's something missing from your life, the worst you can do is focus on it. So if you do not have a partner and you want a partner, or if you do not have a house, or if you do not have this or that, or whatever someone else has, that is one of the worst things to be focusing on for yourself. Because as my good friend Dan has shared, and I thought this was an incredible quote, if you do not feel happy, just change your definition of happiness to what you already have. And this is a perfect quote to summarize literally what gratitude is. And we cannot force ourselves or anyone else to feel grateful. But when you do decide that you don't want to be sad anymore, then that's when we can start being grateful for what we have. So I want to share with you this story from a few weeks ago where I was in bed and it was getting really late and I knew that I wanted to go to sleep. The last thing that I wanted to do was to stay up waiting for my partner to finish streaming so that we could call. I instead decided to go on Gumtree and to just keep scrolling and looking at things. And I made the excuse that, oh yeah, this is interesting. But I also knew that the next day I had to get up early, and I also had told my partner that I was going to go to bed early that day. But part of me didn't trust myself. Part of me was like, nah, you always say you're going to go to bed and then you end up staying up anyway. So then it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I was literally self-sabotaging. And so by the time it came to the time when my partner said they would finish their stream, they ended up finishing later than they said they would finish, but I was meant to have gone to bed anyway, and the call was just bad. Like, I don't even know why we were on the call at that point, right? Because I was just feeling so much shame and hated myself and was just angry. I was partly angry at him not ending his stream when he said he would, but I was mostly angry at myself for not going to bed because I said I would. And I was mostly angry at myself for leaving it so late, having essentially procrastinated going to bed. And procrastination is one of those things that is literally a self-sabotaging behavior. It is mental self-harm, right? Because we know when we procrastinate exactly what we're doing, exactly what we want to be doing instead, or what we know is what we're supposed to be doing. And so instead of doing the thing, we are doing something else. And we make up these excuses. And in the moment, that something else kind of feels good because you're avoiding doing the thing that you know you committed to doing, whether it is now or in the future. And so what procrastination essentially is an inability to manage those negative emotions that come up when you're trying to avoid a task. And having ADHD, I find it very hard to regulate emotions and find it very hard to overcome the regular things of procrastination, which are the task seems too big and overwhelming and therefore you don't want to start because it just seems too big, right? We all know how to deal with procrastination. Just do it, just start. We all know it. Break it down, start, get yourself to a place where you feel okay, do something else, just focus on the first step, start a timer, do it for a minute, do it for 10 seconds. We all already know everything that we need to do to live better lives, to be happy with ourselves. And yet we self-sabotage ourselves all the time. Or at least I do. So when I didn't go to bed when I said I would that night, I felt so much shame because that night I had also promised myself that I would do some work and send some emails out. And I didn't end up doing it, and so I was like, I'm going to go to bed early so that I can do it tomorrow morning. And lo and behold, I did not go to bed early, ended up staying really late, ended up getting very frustrated in a shame spiral, and then woke up the next morning and didn't get up early the next morning and didn't really do what I said I was going to do and just sort of hated myself for doing that. And it's really easy to continue to do that, to continue to feel so much self-hate for feeling like you never live up to your own promises. Procrastination feels good. Feeling like a piece of shit in a very normal way also feels good. Telling myself that I'm a piece of shit is almost like saying, hey, you're a piece of shit, therefore it's okay because you're just a piece of shit anyway. So I'm just literally validating who I identify with, which is the worst version of myself. I know that this is not how other people see me, and I know how any of you who might feel that way, that is not how other people see you, right? And you know that there are times when you are your best version of yourself and you are the person you want to be. And it appears like that to everyone else, but when you're inside your own head and your own body, you're like, why am I like this, you know? So I guess what I'm trying to say is procrastination, just like any other habit, can be broken. And it is something that you can work on, firstly by creating habit loops that help, which is something that I might be working on in the future. I don't know. At the moment, I think I'm very much committed to doing this YouTube channel, so that's why this exists in the first place, even though I procrastinate doing this all the time and both my last videos were made in a day. Procrastination is also something that requires self-compassion to defeat. Because if you are constantly hating on yourself, it will be incredibly hard to do the thing unless there is a deadline. And sometimes you can make deadlines for yourself. I know that the channel How to ADHD, Jessica on that channel has done a fantastic job of creating resources for procrastination and ways that you can motivate yourself. Whether you have ADHD or not, these are great ways to do the thing that you want to do, essentially. Because sometimes it's really freaking hard to do anything. Give yourself credit for all the things that you have done and to remember that, yes, you've done that. You've gotten out of bed, you have showered, you have had water, you have changed. Whatever it might be, give yourself credit for everything that you've done because I know that you're trying, you know that you're trying, and it is okay, even though it doesn't seem like a big deal, to try. We're all trying, and that's all you can ever expect yourself to do. Even if it doesn't look like anything, even if it looks like lying in your bed, scrolling on your phone on social media. So here's my message from this video to all of you. When you feel like a piece of shit, take a moment and breathe in and breathe out. And focus on your breathing just for a little bit. If it helps, you can do some yoga. I know yoga helps me a lot. Yoga with Adrienne, shout out to her. Amazing, amazing channel. If it's too hard to do that, be aware of what you are currently thinking and how you are feeling. Imagine all of your thoughts as leaves falling off a tree and floating down a stream, and watch it float by, leaf by leaf. I'm a piece of shit, okay. I should be doing this. Okay, we're gonna watch it go down. This person is thinking this of me, okay. And let it go through your mind without judgment until you feel like you're in a better place and in less of a negative space, and decide to do one thing. Think about what you've already done. You woke up today, you know, that's great. Even if it's as simple as you woke up today, you are doing great. Go and start. Or if you can't start, go and tell someone else about it. Sharing your problem and connecting with people that you love is going to make it so much easier to do the thing. And that's how I do this thing. That's how I do the YouTube, because I share it with my partner, my friends, you know, so many people. Because you know the task is never as hard as it seems in your head. Even though it seems like the hardest thing in the world is to get out of bed sometimes. You can do it. You've gotten up every single other day for most of your life, and you can do it. And I believe in you, and I can see that you're trying. I hope this helps in any way. I just want you all to know that you are not alone, and I face these struggles almost every freaking day, okay? This last week has not been the easiest week for me, having come back home from not being at home for the last 4 days or 5 days, and then coming home and focusing on how bad my home is, and just feeling like I failed because I didn't do yoga for the last 4 days, or because my room is a mess, or because I haven't done all the things that I said I was gonna do. At the end of the day, it's okay. It doesn't matter. The next day will come, and so will the next. And eventually, you'll do the thing that you wanted to do. Even if you don't do it for the next 10 years, for the next 5 years, like my YouTube channel. I know you can do it. And I know you are trying. Have a great rest of your week. I will see you in the next video, which is going to be about Soul, the most amazing Disney Pixar movie I have watched yet, which is so relevant to what we're talking about today in this video. Thank you for watching, thank you for supporting me, thank you for leaving your comments, thank you for subscribing. And thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments below if you feel this shame spiral, if you feel this procrastination spiral. I know you feel it, so you better leave a comment below. Now, if you feel inclined to share your own shame story, please do so in the comments below, or just feel free to message me, because, yo, we're all human, and all we have in this lonely world are people and the connections that we make. Have a good rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! What am I talking about? I don't know.